William Regal is a living legend of professional wrestling that has been in the business for 40 years. He started wrestling at the young age of 15. When I was 15, I had to sleep with a nightlight, and my dad still cut my food up for me. Regal was grappling with some of the toughest wrestlers England had to offer. Regal even did some shoot wrestling at carnivals. That was something that was prevalent in the 1800s, and in the 1980s, Regal was still doing it. His career spans carny wrestling any challenger, through the explosion of Hulk Hogan and Rock and Wrestling, to the Monday Night Wars, the end of those wars, being an integral part of NXT, and even being involved with both sides of the AEW-WWE rivalry. William Regal was an incredible in-ring worker and is a legend of a wrestling style that is now referred to as British strong style. One aspect of his ring work I always enjoyed was his facial expressions. He was able to convey the story of the match with his facial expressions, and I think that's a lost art these days. Regal is someone that all young, aspiring wrestlers need to study. He had several setbacks in his career, battling drug addiction, injuries, and a heart parasite that kept him out for a year. But he always came back better. Also, Regal was not afraid to be a joke. Some wrestlers are too worried about that stuff these days. He showed that he could be a funny character and had great comedic timing. Then he could go back to the villainous grappling master when he needed to. He was very versatile and adaptable with his character. He has a lot of knowledge of the business as well. On an episode of Table for Three, he mentioned how he would change his wrestling gear every time he had an action figure come out. He knew that collectors and fans are going to want the latest version, and that's a smart way to keep getting merchandise out there for yourself. So now that you know why I like William Regal and what makes him so great, let's look at my favorite matches of his. Number 5 versus Arn Anderson, Super Brawl 1994. Now this is a match where I thought there would not be a lot of chemistry. I was wrong. Like Mac and Dennis, Charlie and Frank, and Tango and Cash, these two had it. Lord Steven Regal has that British style where they work over your extremities. Like Pete Dunne for all you new wrestling fans. And I didn't think that would work too well with Arn. I forgot that the Andersons and Brainbusters were known to target a certain body part too. So what we got was a great old school grappling match. This match was for the WCW TV title, and you could argue these two were two of the best to ever hold the title, a list that includes Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Lex Luger, Booker T, Ric Flair, and Alex Wright. Regal was very good at the little things, and in this match is a shining example. Early in this match, Regal would sell his ear after every lockup. That's a smart thing because when you lock up with a guy, he can grind his forearm into your ear. Yet 90% of wrestlers seem to forget this aspect. Regal did not. Regal was known to go to the time limit and retain the TV title. He had several high-profile matches that ended like that, with matches against Dustin Rhodes and Ricky Steamboat being notable examples. The match with Arn Anderson seemed to be leading that way, but Regal was able to steal a pinfall victory in the final seconds, capping off a brilliant old story within a match. Number 4 versus the Ultimo Dragon, Slamboree 1997. These two are two of my favorites, especially from this era of WCW. They say styles make matches, and that rings true here. The grapple-based, technical style of Regal meshes well with the high-flying Japanese style of Dragon. This is a highly competitive match. Watching this match got me thinking how WCW had potential to do what the X Division did for TNA. The X Division was also almost like the Cruiserweight Division, except there are no weight limits. Bigger guys like Regal, Finlay, Booker T, and even Bret Hart could have worked so well with the smaller guys like Ultimo Dragon, Rey Mysterio, and El Dandy. WCW was known for putting on great wrestling matches early on pay-per-views and then having old-timers lumber around the ring. That's what happened here. Regal and Dragon worked their asses off to get the crowd going, while Flair, Piper, and a handful of football players were in the main event, sending the crowd home miserable. You should definitely check out this great match from two legends from different schools of pro wrestling. Number 3 versus Cassius Ohno from NXT 2013. William Regal is a great veteran wrestler. A great example of that is how the last 10 years of his in-ring career, he tried to work with younger talents. He had good matches with guys like CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, Dean Ambrose, and Cesaro. I almost gave this spot to his match with Dean Ambrose, as I loved their feud and how Regal saw that Ambrose was a lot like him. Cassius Ohno is a great what if. I think Ohno is a guy that could have been a big star, but for whatever reason he never reached his full potential. This match really showcased his in-ring ability. Ohno is a student of the game, and this was good to see him matched up with a true master of the mat. I think that guys like Regal and Finlay were great at having brutal matches without having to resort to weapons. This match is an example of that, with brutal images as Regal worked on the fingers of Ohno. Watching him bend and twist his fingers made me cringe. Ohno also brought that violence with some hard shots at the head of Regal. There was one spot where Ohno kicked Regal's head into the ring post that looked like something out of John Wick. This was a good old school versus new school match, and both guys delivered big time. In the comments, let me know your views on Cassius Ohno. Number 2 versus Sting, Great American Bash 1996. WCW was such a crazy company because you would get matches like this where you didn't think these two would ever match up, and they get thrown together in the middle of a pay-per-view and it ends up being a banger match. I feel like when Hulk Hogan and Randy Savage came to WCW, Sting was put on the back burner and almost forgotten about. This match showed that Sting could go in the ring and why he was the franchise player of the company. Regal was incredible here with his facial expressions. He really got over how he feared Sting. He also did good heel work by taunting Sting or going outside to buy time. It's cool to see Sting do some of that hold-for-hold grappling. He didn't do that a lot, and this match showed how versatile he was in the ring. The match also showed viewers that Regal could work with main event guys and have good matches. I'm sad that we never got to see Hogan versus Regal. Another thing I like is during this time, Lord Steven Regal had a manservant named Jeeves, but on commentary, Dusty Rhodes called him Chives. This is a hidden gem of 90s wrestling and is worth seeking out. Number 1 versus Fit Finlay, Uncensored 1996. One of the most violent matches ever, and all they used was their bare hands. I think Gunther watches this match every night before bed. It is a great showcase of the European style and what is known today as British strong style. If you watch closely, there are some shots where even the referee is taken aback. There is a moment where Finlay hits Regal with a shot that breaks his nose and eye socket. You can hear the bone break. Regal is double tough to take that and just keep wrestling. This show overall is one of the worst ever, but this match is definitely a diamond. As hard-hitting and violent as this match is, the most violent thing in this match is the mullet of Fit Finlay. That mullet was like a car crash. It was ugly to look at, but you can't look away. So there you have it, my 5 favorite William Regal matches. Regal has been in the wrestling business for 40 years and has gone above and beyond to entertain the fans. With guys like Pete Dunne, Zack Sabre Jr., Daniel Bryan, and Tyler Bates still going, the influence of William Regal will live on, especially with viewings of these matches.